I'll sing Jaya Radha Madhav. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, welcome everyone to for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. We are going to discuss from Canto 1, Chapter 14, verse number 4. The title of this chapter is The Disappearance of Lord Krishna. Okay. We'll start with some prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay, welcome everyone. So as I said, we are going to discuss the verse from chapter 14 from Canto 1. The verse number is 4. So Prabhuji, I just want to confirm if is my screen visible properly, the screen sharing?
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Like, okay. Jihma prayam vyavahritam shatya mishram cha sauhridam Pitra Matra Suhrit Bhratra Patinam cha Kalkanam Jihma Prayam Vyavahritam Shatya Mishram cha Sauhridam Pitra Matra Suhrit Bhratra Patinam cha Kalkanam Jihma Prayam Vyavahritam Shatya Mishram cha Sauhridam Pitra Matra Suhrit Bhratra Patinam cha Kalkanam. Would anyone like to recite?
I can tell you. Jidmaprayam Vyavahritam Shakya Mishram Cha Sauhridam Putramatra Suhradbhatra Dampati Nam Cha Kalkanam. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna Mataji, are you speaking? I think you got muted.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Jihma prayam vyavahritam satyamisram cha sauhradam Vitrumatra suhrada bhartru Bhatradam patinam cha kalkanam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jihma prayam vyavahritam shatyamishram jasauhridam pitramatra sahridbratra dampatinam cha kalkanam. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Jiham priyam vyavartam Shatya Mishrancha Sardadam Pitramartha Surdbhartar Dhampati Namcha Kalkanam. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Okay, all right. So we'll go to the synonyms. Jihma prayam, cheating. Vyavahiritam, in all ordinary transaction. Shatya, duplicity. Mishram, adulterated in. Cha and Suhridam, regarding friendly well-wishers. Pitra, father. Matra, regarding the mother. Suhrit, well-wishers. Bratra, one's own brother. Dampatinam, regarding husband and wife. Cha, also. Kalkanam, mutual quarrel. Okay. Translation. All ordinary transactions and dealings became polluted with cheating, even between friends. And in familial affairs, there was always misunderstanding between fathers, mothers, sons, between well-wishers, and between brothers. Even between husband and wife, there was always strain and quarrel. So, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, purport. A conditioned living being is endowed with four principles of malpractice, namely errors, insanity, inability, and cheating. These are signs of imperfections. And out of the four, propensity to cheat others is the propensity to cheat others is most prominent. And this cheating practice is there in the conditioned souls, because the conditioned souls are primarily in the material world, imbued with an unnatural desire to lord it over the material world. A living being in his pure state is not conditioned by the laws, because in his pure state he is conscious that a living being is eternally subservient to the Supreme Being, and thus it is always good for him to remain subservient instead of falsely trying to lord it over the property of the Supreme Lord. In the conditioned state, the living being is not satisfied even if he actually becomes the lord of all that he surveys, which he never becomes, and therefore he becomes the victim of all kinds of cheating, even in his nearest and most intimate relations. In such an unsatisfactory state of affairs, there is no harmony, even between father and sons or between husband and wife. But all these contending difficulties can be mitigated by one process, and that is the devotional service of the Lord. The world of hypocrisy can be checked only by counteraction through devotional service to the Lord and nothing else. Maharaj Yudhishthir, having observed the disparities, conjectured the disappearance of the Lord from the earth. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So, thank you everyone for joining today's Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. So before I start, I want to mention few things. So this discussion, this is Srimad Bhagavatam discussion in which we discuss a little bit of philosophy, Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophies. I know this is a public forum in which the session is live streamed to YouTube and Facebook, and people at any point later point also they can visit and listen to these lectures. So in a traditional in a face-to-face class, there is always opportunities to clarify doubts and discuss after the class, but in such a setting it's very difficult. So that's why if you are new and you are just exploring what Krishna consciousness is, this may not be for you because it could confuse. That's why the Sunday feast lectures, they are good for newcomers. So having said that, so if you are still interested, you can continue. If not, you can tune you can tune out. Okay, so and I just want to mention that there is this Bhagavad Gita verse, yad yad acharati shreshta tat tat evataro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastat anuvartate. So Krishna says that whatever a leader does in the society, the common man follows. So what I'm going to discuss, these are discussions that what I've understood based on what I've heard and read. So these understandings could be incorrect. So that's why Rishabdev, I think he mentions that a Vaishnava should present his understanding in an assembly of devotees and get it corrected. So get feedback and and improve the understanding. So that is my main goal. I'm just sharing my understanding and getting blessings of Vaishnavas. So that's my main goal for doing this service. So okay, then let's start. So before I just begin, I just want to ask a question that what is the primary goal of our practice of bhakti? What is the primary goal? Why do we practice bhakti in human form of life? Any please, whatever comes to your mind, please mention. Anyone?
Prema.
Krishna. Yeah.
Yes, Haribol Prabhuji, thank you. Yeah, Krishna Prem, that's our primary goal, right? So the discussions we are going to do, it's based on this. So if somebody has problems with this understanding, then the rest of the discussion would not be for you. So thank you. Okay, all right. So the discussion I'm going to go through is the conditioning by three modes, because Srila Prabhupada was saying that how in a pure state the jiva is without any contaminations. And so what does the jiva get contaminated by? It's the three modes. So the three modes is actually the source of the entire material world, because everything we see, the mind, body, intelligence, every single atom, everything is kind of combination of three modes, from pradhan to mahatattva, and then mahatattva combines with transforms into false ego. These are descriptions in the second canto of Bhagavatam. And false ego merges or gets influenced by sattva, rajas, tamas, or mode of passion, mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Then different things come out. So basically we are inside the three modes, right? So this is I want to discuss more about these nuances and what exactly it is. That's the main theme of today's discussion. And the references for these are from His Grace Balaram Shakti Prabhu. The courses I took these information from, these are from Sarada Varshini Bhagavad Gita, Sarada Varshini Srimad Bhagavatam, and another course on Bhakti Rasamrita in the Eastern Way, which is called Rediscovering Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and one more workshop, it was named Are You Sure If Bhakti is Pure? So all these courses are available in this website, Bhakti Grantha Seva. It's free, but there are prerequisites for attending or taking these courses. Okay. All right. So I want to ask this question that purity is the force. So we know that Srila Prabhupada mentioned 4 principles which are foundational for ISKCON. One is books are the basis. Srila Prabhupada's books are the basis. Utility is the principle. Preaching is the essence, and purity is the force. So what is this purity or what is this purity referring to? Could anyone share your thoughts? Any thoughts, Prabhuji? Yes, Prabhuji. So yeah, the purity of our faith, and purity, external purity, internal purity, all that, right? So thank you so much. So yeah, you're right, Prabhuji. So the anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam, that's the purity of our faith and practice. So that's the aspect I want to discuss today, purity of our practice of devotion and the faith, devotional faith, because when purity is the force, it mentions all of these things: external purity, internal purity, purity of practice, and purity of our faith. Okay, so okay, so 3 modes. We all know this thing from Bhagavad Gita. 3 modes. It has sattva, rajas, and tamas. Okay, so this could influence 2 different things from the point of view of internal purity. One is faith, shraddha, or second one is conditioning or swabhava. Shraddha, one of the explanations I heard for the word shraddha is shra is heart and dha is giving. There could be other meanings, but this is one meaning I thought it's relevant here. Giving heart means that for which you believe that it's worth giving your heart or putting, taking all the decisions based on that. And swabhava is something which is which attracts or distracts one from one's goal. Okay, so swabhava is something which distracts a jiva. Faith or shraddha is something which a jiva is willing to give their heart for. It could be, from material side or devotional side. Okay, so first let's see what the 3 modes, how it affects the swabhava or the stimulus response system. So the type of effects could be, what kind of reaction a person puts forward to a stimulus response, or what are the things which attracts them, like place, food, clothing and all that, and what kind of qualities one possesses. All these comes under the umbrella of swabhava. Okay, so here sattva, rajas, tamas, these are when they affect the these 3 modes affects the swabhava. When somebody is in the mode of goodness or sattva, they could be liking peacefulness, knowledge, truthfulness, dutifulness, etc., etc. So these are all mode of goodness qualities and the type of things which attracts one person in mode of goodness. Then rajas, it's greed, pride, lust, anger, envy, etc. These are rajogun or mode of rajas. And then tamogun are the mode of ignorance, that is bewilderment, confusion, and lethargy, etc. So these are primarily the qualities that distinguishes these 3 modes from the viewpoint of swabhava or conditioning. Okay, so let's see the influence of 3 modes on faith. This is one can, in terms of faith, it could be material faith or from the point of devotional faith. Okay, so one could ask 3 questions from the point of view of devotional faith: that why to worship, why should I worship? Second one is how to worship. Third one is whom to worship. Okay, 3 questions one can ask the Shastras. So when the 3 modes affect the faith, it could be broadly categorized into pure Shastric faith and non-Shastric faith. Okay, non-Shastric means pure Shastric faith means you ask these questions to the Shastras and you do your practices based on the conclusions of the Shastras. Non-Shastric faith or sentimental faith, that's more like, it's based on what you just like. That's the just a brief overview of what these 2 categories are, and let's go inside now. So the pure Shastric faith, it could be divided into 4 different divisions. The first one is pure devotional faith, in which you ask the Shastras, why do we worship? We worship for Krishna Prem. That's our goal. How do we worship? We worship using the Navada Bhakti, 9 limbs of devotional services. And whom to worship? That is Lord Vishnu, right? So this is pure devotional faith, and this is beyond the 3 modes. This is Nirguna Bhakti. These are not contaminated by the 3 modes. So, but if the pure Shastric faith, it is contaminated by sattva, rajas, tamas, what could happen? First one is when the faith gets influenced by sattva, then the goal would be liberation. Why to worship? The goal would be liberation. How to worship? That would be through Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Mishra Bhakti, all that. So depending on if the Bhakti part is predominant, that becomes Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti, or predominantly Bhakti. If the Bhakti part is relatively less, that becomes Guni Bhuta Bhakti, where the Guna becomes predominant and the Bhakti takes a secondary role. So this is under the Sattva Guna. And then whom to worship? That would be Lord Vishnu, because we are still under the umbrella of pure Shastric faith, where one relies on the Shastra and the Shastric conclusions to do their worship. And in terms of Rajas, the goal is material sense gratification. Okay, we are still under the pure Shastric faith. So the means is Sakama Karma Yoga or Mishra Bhakti. Okay, somebody has a desire for name, fame, glorification, and they approach the Lord for fulfillment of those things. So, and who they worship, it's worship of Lord Vishnu. Tamas, its goal is violence to others. Still, we are under the under the umbrella of pure Shastric faith, and but the goal of one who is afflicted by Tamogun in terms of faith, it is violence to others. Now the means is still, you know, Sakama Yoga or Mishra Bhakti. Okay, and who do they worship? Still Vishnu. Now this particular part could be a little bit confusing. Like, how could somebody who is worshipping Lord Vishnu, especially in the mode of ignorance, could be considered under the pure Shastric faith? Actually, this discussion comes in Srimad Bhagavatam 3rd canto, where Kapila Dev, he instructs Mother Devahuti. The chapter 25 to 29, 25 he starts discussing about the pure devotional faith, and the 26, 27, I think he talks about the Jnana Yoga. Then 28 he talks about Ashtanga Yoga, and 29 he talks about these particular discussions, where I will give references for these things later in the discussion, but just these are discussed from Kapila Dev's instructions to Mother Devahuti. And the example for such a person is Mother Diti, I think. She worshipped Lord Vishnu to destroy the demigods. So that is one of the examples. Okay, so these three categories, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, which influences the faith, they are categorized as mixed devotional faith, where the goal is not pure devotional prema. It is goal is in one category liberation, another is material sense gratification, another is violence to others. Okay, now if we go to the next subdivision, that is non-shastric or sentimental faith, this again could be divided into three parts: Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Now this is coming from Krishna's Bhagavad Gita instructions to Arjun. Let's see where it is. Okay, so in 17.2, Krishna says, Trivida bhavati shraddha dehinam sa swabhavaja satviki rajasi chaiva tamasi cheti tam shrunu. So he's saying that according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of three kinds: in mode of goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. So those whose sentimental faith gets affected by mode of goodness, they worship demigods. Those whose sentimental fate affected by rajas, they worship yakshas and rakshasas, and tamas, this is worship of pretas and bhutaganas. This is the verse 4 from chapter 17. Yajante satvika devan yaksha rakshamsi rajasaha pretan bhutaganam chanye yajante tamasa janaha. So this is this umbrella is coming from that particular verse. So okay, is it possible that somebody could have sentimental faith on Lord Vishnu? Yes, absolutely. Why not? Because without consulting the Shastras for what is the conclusion, one could still have just a sentimental faith on Lord Vishnu. In India, there are some prayers after every yajna, something like a Sukha Sampati Garave Kashtamite Tanaka Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare. So basically it is a mixed devotional service. Give me more wealth and happiness, and remove all my sufferings. So that's the goal. That's the goal. If that is the goal, then that comes under the umbrella of mixed devotional service. And Bhagavatam says such a devotee, they are Prakrita Bhakta. 11.2.47. What does Narad Muni say? Archayam eva haraye pujam yaha shraddhaye hate na tad bhakteshu chanyeshu sabhakta prakrita smritaha. A devotee who faithfully engages in the worship of the deity in the temple but does not behave properly towards other devotees or people in general is called Prakrita Bhakta, or a materialistic devotee. Okay, so so these are the references for this particular umbrella. Okay, so now I'm going to discuss more about the influence of three modes on devotees, because we have to distinguish or have a good understanding of what is conditioning on faith versus conditioning on swabhava. It could be same for materialist, but not so much for pure devotional sadhaka. Let's see how. So for a materialist, one could be attached to, I'm saying from both ways. It could be same for a materialist or could be different for a materialist. In which case could it be same is that a child, who doesn't know anything about devotion or anything, they have faith in their parents. At the same time, they have attachment to their parents. Okay, that is one case where the faith and swabhava is same. In other case, let's say a drug addict. He's addicted to drug. He's attached to drug, but he doesn't have any faith. He's helplessly attached. He knows that he's not going to perfect his life with this attachment. Still, he is attached to it helplessly. So that comes under the category of one who does not have faith in particular thing, but still their swabhava is like that, they are attached to it. And the other end could be, okay, well, I'll just move to the sadhaka section, where for a sadhaka, the faith could be pure shastriya shraddha, uncontaminated by modes. That is pure devotional faith, the uttama bhakti. Okay, and swabhava could be still under the three modes. So what does it mean? That means that a pure devotional sadhaka can still be having lust, anger, envy, pride, greed, everything, and that is their swabhava. Because their swabhava is contaminated by three modes, but their faith could still be pure devotional faith. Okay, so this is what we are going to discuss in detail in the next few slides. Okay, so what is the definition for uttama bhakti? Most of us are well familiar with this verse. This is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyana krishna anushilanam bhakti uttama. So there are two divisions to it. Anya abhilashita shunyam and jnana karmadi anavritam. These are secondary qualities of this uttama bhakti, the thing which makes uttama, the bhakti uttama. That is, if these categories are satisfied, then the bhakti becomes pure devotional. Anukulyana Krishna and Anushilanam, these are primary qualities, because without these being satisfied, it is not called bhakti at all. So here Bhakti Uttama, that is the highest bhakti, is defined as continuous service or emotions, that is Anushilanam, continuous service directed towards Krishna, his expansion forms or other related to him, with a pleasing attitudes towards Krishna, that is Anukulyana, and it should be devoid of other desires other than the desire to please the Lord, Anya abhilashita shunyam, and unobstructed by impersonal jnana, the materialistic rituals of karma or other unfavorable acts, jnana karmadi anavritam. So what we are reading is that Anukulyana Krishna Anushilanam is what makes it bhakti itself, and Anya abhilashita shunyam and jnana karmadi anavritam is what makes it pure devotional service. Okay, so based on this definition, how many of you actually feel your practice of devotional service is pure according to this definition? Anyone here feels that their devotional practice is pure? No. Okay. Okay, I know this is it's a very difficult criteria to qualify for, right? Anya abhilashita shunyam. What does it mean? Like, have no other desire other than to please Krishna? Seems like a very tall order to climb. So what does it mean? If our practice is not pure devotional service, is it mixed devotional service? Most of us might think that is the case. We are still not pure devotees because we have lust, anger, and we greed, everything. Okay, so let's first of all consult the Shastras and see what mixed devotional services are. What is the definition for these mixed devotional service? Okay, so first, this is the discussion between Mother Devahuti and Kapiladev. So chapter 3, canto 3, chapter 29, verse 8. Abhisandaya yo himsam damba matsarya eva va samrambi binnadrik bhavam mai kuryatsa tamasaha. So here abhisandaya means goal. Okay, what is the goal? Angry person devoid of who worships me with intentions of violence, pride, and hatred is tamasic in his bhakti. So I want to mention this thing, that the bhakti itself is not contaminated in the sense that the bhakti is pure, but based on the intentions of the practitioner, the bhakti could be categorized as tamasic bhakti, rajasic bhakti, or sattvic bhakti. Okay, so here Kapila Dev is saying that one whose goal is to cause violence to others, or they have pride and hatred, that is called tamasic bhakti. And with that being the goal, if somebody worships him, who Kapila Dev, to fulfill those desires, that is called tamasic bhakti. Okay, now let's see what rajasic bhakti is. This is विषयान् अभिसन्धाय यश ऐश्वर्य एव वा अर्चादाव अर्चयेद्यो मां पृथक् भाव स राजसः. Abhisandhaya, again, what is the goal? Pृथक् bhavaha, that is, they want liberation. So he who worships me in the form of deities and others, archa adav, with desire for objects, again pृथक् bhava, abhisandhaya, with the goal of material gain, vishayan, fame, yasha, or wealth, aishwaryam, that is called rajasic bhakti. Okay, so then the third category is sattvic bhakti, which is karma nirharam uddishya parasmin va tad arpanam yajet yashtavyam iti va pृथक् bhavah sa sattvikah. Actually, I said it wrongly. Here, pृथक् bhava doesn't mean liberation. This is, they have material, fame, name, fame, glory. Those are the objects of worship, and that is what they that is their goal, and they worship the Lord for that. And here the sattvic bhakti is he who worships me with a desire to destroy karma. Karma nirharam uddishya. Uddishya means what? It is their goal. Making his works as an offering to the Lord, or executing the worship as a duty, having desire for liberation, has sattvic bhakti. Okay, so when somebody has it's like, I'm done with suffering in this world, Lord, please remove my karma and get me out of this material world. With that desire, if they worship the Lord as their goal, then that becomes sattvic bhakti. So having gone through these three definitions, one can still think that yes, I have it looks like I have lot of pride and then desire for name, fame, glorification, so it looks like I'm practicing rajasic bhakti. I also I have a desire that I want to get out of this material world because it's a place of suffering. I don't want to suffer anymore, so that makes me look like I'm practicing sattvic bhakti. And I still have sometimes anger, and I feel like going and slapping that person, which makes me think that I could be practicing tamasic bhakti. But hold on, does these practice fit these, does your practice fit these definitions of mixed devotional service? One at this point could still think that yes, it looks like I am practicing mixed devotional service. How about a third option? Let's see what that is. So a classic definition for Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the discussion between Uddhavaji and Lord Krishna. Jata Shraddho Matkatasu Nirvinna Sarvakarmasu Veda Dukkatmakam Kaman Parityage Api Anishvaraha Tato Bhajate Mam Pritah Shraddalur Dhranashchaya Jushamanascha Tan Kaman Dukkodarkamscha Gargayan. Okay, let's break this down and then see what each part is. Jata Shraddho Matkatasu. So having awakened faith in the process of bhakti. So he has awakened the faith for bhakti. Nirvinna sarva karmasu, that is disgusted with all material activities. Veda dukkatmakam kaman, understands that sense gratification leads to misery. Veda, he knows. What he knows? He knows that engaging in sense gratification will lead to miseries, and he is disgusted with all the material activities. But what does he do? Parityage api anishvaraha, still unable to give up sense gratification. He knows that sense gratification is bad, and still he is not able to give it up. Jushamanascha tan kaman dukko darkamsha garhayan, unable to give up sense gratification, he sincerely repents for engaging in such acts. Tato bhajate mam. So what does he do? He worships me. Pritaha, remains happy. He doesn't feel depressed. Shraddhalur, with great faith, because he doesn't doubt the process. Dhrida nishchaya. Krishna is saying to Uddhavaji that such a person should not give up his determination. So does this definition suit your practice best? It could be. For most of us it could be, because we all know that engaging in sense gratification leads to misery, but still we have attachment for it, because that is because our conditioning, our swabhava is conditioned by the three modes, but may not be our faith itself. So why? What about mixed devotional service then? The first three definitions we saw, we still have the desire for name, fame, glorifications, and the desire for mukti and all that. What about that? Let's see. This is the purports from Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on Bhagavatam from the same sections on chapter 29 from Canto 3. With a goal of violence, pride, and hatred, the angry person with no compassion who performs bhakti bhavam to me is tamasic. So he's saying about the tamasic devotee. He who worships with the intention of destroying karma, his goal in bhakti is to destroy karma. Okay, he worships in such a way that his actions are offered to the Lord, or could be Vanashram, the Dharma, Nishkama Karma Yoga, all that. He performs bhakti of hearing and chanting, filled with offering of occupational duty. So he performs the limbs of bhakti, but the goal is that he wants to offer these results to the Lord so that his karma gets destroyed. That is what Sattvic bhakti. Okay, but is Vaidhi sadhana bhakti pure devotional service? How is that? Because pure devotional service means there should be anya abhilayashita shunyam, right? How could that be still called Vaidhi sadhana bhakti? So let's see what the definition of sadhana bhakti is from Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhava sa sadhana abhida nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakritam hiri sadhyata. So here kriti sadhya bhavet, that means kriti sadhya means action of the senses, that is performing the 9 limbs of devotional service, which produces the stage of bhava. Sadhya bhava bhavet. So sadhya bhava bhavet means what? We are performing devotional service with the goal that we will get bhava bhakti. That is, we are performing bhakti to get bhava bhakti. We are performing bhakti to get bhakti. If that is the goal and that is our practice, that is called sadhana. If the goal is that, like in the previous slide I mentioned, if the goal is violence, pride, hatred, destroying karma, that makes it categorized as mixed devotional service. Yeah, but if our goal is that we want bhava, perfected pure devotional service, that is categorized under the category of sadhana bhakti, which is Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. But still it's not very clear, right? Like, how can my Vaidhi sadhana bhakti be pure devotional service if I have so many desires, which is one of the biggest misunderstood fact for devotees. Because how can having so many desires in my heart, I am anyabhalayashita shunyam. Now this particular topic is very it will take at least 4 or 5 hours to clarify all the doubts and present it with proofs. So I'm just going to take a small snippet from the course I'm going to mention at the very end. This is from that. So desires, first of all, could be categorized under 2 categories. One is desires born out of value system, or desires born out of conditioning. Okay, desires born out of value system is what? That is the shraddha, whatever one believes in or have faith in, that is called desires born out of shraddha or value system. Other desires born out of swabhava, one's likes, dislikes, that is called desires born out of condition. Okay, so desires born out of shraddha, that is called abhilasha. Desires born out of conditioning, that is called anartha. Now this could be subjective for each individual. Now there is always a tug of war between these two, right? Because we could always have a desire that we want to please our spiritual master, right? That is because we have faith in our devotional process, that we want to achieve Krishna Bhakti. That means one of the ways is by serving the spiritual master. But we could always be having the face disturbed by desire for opposite sex. Now one could have a desire that one want to chant quality rounds, but at the same time we could get angry and be like, I want to slap that idiot. So you can see that desires could be categorized under 2 different categories. One is abhilasha, another one is anartha. Now what Rupa Goswami is saying is that anya abhilashita shunyam, not anya anartha shunyam, right? So if somebody's abhilasha is that they want to progress in spiritual life by following the Navada Bhakti, then one could still be anya abhilashita shunyam, even though they are still affected by many anarthas. Okay, so again, I don't want to go too much into explaining this particular aspect, because for the rest of the presentation I just want to focus on the second part, which is Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, uncovered by Jnana and Karma. So up until now what did we see is that we are investigating how sadhana bhakti could be uttama bhakti, and we just saw how the anya abhilashita shunyam, that part is still possible under Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Now I just want to mention what this next Tatastha Lakshana, which is the secondary character of Uttama Bhakti, that is Jnana Karma the Anavratam is. So I want to focus on that part. Okay. So why Jnana? What Jnana are you talking about? Jnana refers to knowledge of impersonal Brahman and other such knowledge that can cover one's appreciation of Bhakti. Okay. So Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. That means one's Bhakti should not be covered by Jnana and Karma. Okay, so what karma are we talking about? Karma refers to Nitya and Naimittika karmas and not actions related to serving the Lord, because Shravanam, Kirtanam, chanting, everything is can be categorized as karma, because we are using our senses to perform certain activities. And Jnana, like reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, these are still part of our Samandha Jnana. But what Rupa Goswami is particularly mentioning is impersonal Jnana, that is knowledge that Jiva and there are similarities between Jiva and the Supreme Lord, that particular aspect, or impersonal Brahmagyan. Or karma, that refers to the Nitya and Naimittika karma. I spoke about this in the last time I think I got chance regarding the Varnashram Dharma. We went in detail about those, so we can refer to those lectures if you are interested. So here, Jnana Karma Adi. Adi refers to like everything in this category, Vairagya, Sankhya, Yoga, all such that, because they all obstruct pure Bhakti. If Bhakti has to be devoid of influence of Jnana and Karma, why not Jnana Karma Shunyam? Why is it Anavritam? Because Shunya means completely devoid of. What Rupa Goswami is mentioning is that Jnana Karma Anavritam. That means it should not be covered by Jnana and Karma. Why is that? Jnana Karma Shunyam would exclude knowledge of scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which are vital for one's progress in Bhakti, because these are Samandha Jnana, right? Karma Shunyam would exclude activities like Archanam, Kirtanam, this is what I said, which are essential limbs of Bhakti. Therefore, this definition forbids only those types of Jnana and Karma that covers Bhakti. Therefore, it is Anavritam and not Shunyam. Okay. So now, the conclusion is that performing devotional service while being embarrassed by material desires in the form of anarthas is still Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Okay, but performing devotional service for fulfilling material desires in the form of abhilash is mixed devotional service. Okay, so let's think about this. So one could still have anarthas and still perform Uttama Bhakti. Why is that? Because if you see in Madhurya Kadambini, there are the 9 stages of devotional development, starting from Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema. So all of this is pure devotional service. Has anywhere Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that once you reach this stage, your bhakti becomes pure devotional service. Before that, you are mixed devotional service? No. Anartha Nivritti is only the 4th stage. Actually, even at Anartha Nivritti, after crossing Anartha Nivritti and going to Nishta, still there are anarthas in the heart. That's why it is Nashta Prayeshva Abhadreshu. Predominantly the anarthas are gone. Even at the stage of Bhava, certain anarthas coming from the aparadha, they still exist. So one cannot say that only a Prema Bhakta is pure devotee, everybody below is mixed devotees. That's definition. It's not approved by our Shastri, our Acharyas. Okay, so in this way, even a Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, they could all be considered still pure devotees. Okay, so and one who has these anarthas, I should say, the goals as fulfillment of any of these desires, which is name, fame, glorification, all that makes it mixed devotional service. Now one can always have this confusion that how could perform, wouldn't the Lord within the heart purify one when they are approaching the Lord? Actually, it is called anartha nivritti, because one has to consider a certain thing to be an anartha to be able to get rid of it, right? So if we have these aspects as getting the karma removed, all that as our goal, then we are not considering that as anartha, right? That becomes our abhilash. So anartha nivritti excludes abhilash nivritti, right? So that's why this particular aspect, it could be very confusing, I understand, but just have this idea in mind that Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti with the goal that we want to achieve Krishna Prem could still be pure devotional service. Okay. All right. What's going on? Okay. but isn't full surrender needed for calling it a pure devotional service? Because a Kanishta Adhikari by definition does not have full surrender, right? We could have this question. That's a valid point. Now I have a picture here with two glasses. This is an analogy I want to mention, that one could have a 10 ml glass with pure water fully filled and have a 32 ounce of glass with pure water filled. Both glasses are filled, but one is smaller, another one is bigger. So what I'm trying to convey here is that the size of the glass, that is the strength. Okay, strength is size. A Kanishta could have very small level of strength. A Madhyama or Uttama could have larger strength of their faith, but the purity is same in both cases. Okay, but what about the next case, which is somebody could have a very small glass filled with pure water, and someone could have a huge jug filled with fully filled, but half of it is mixed with oil, other half is water. Now what am I trying to mention here is that there could be a hypothetical scenario, that could be a devotee who is sincerely serving their guru, but they could have a certain understanding that okay, they have to perform their pitradosha, prayachita kind of things like Narayana Nagabali, all these kind of things, so that their bhakti doesn't get affected. If their understanding is that their bhakti depends on performance of these kind of karmas, that is mixing or contaminating bhakti with these mixed devotional practices. So that is similar to this criteria where the jug is full, right, but half of it is filled with oil, not pure water. In other cases, a Kanishta could still be having a very less faith, or their strength of the faith could be very less, but it could still be pure. Okay, so that's the point I'm trying to mention here. Okay, so in this case, the jug is not pure devotion, but here the small glass, that represents the pure devotion, even though it is not big. Okay, so but isn't being in the mode of goodness a good platform for bhakti? What are you talking about, Prabhu? Isn't being in the mode of goodness, is it bad? Why is it bad for pure devotion? So this is where there is a confusion between the swabhava and shraddha. That is, so we tend to think that okay, being peaceful, satisfied, kind, all these are mode of goodness from the point of view of swabhava, which is essential. But from the point of view of faith, if mode of goodness comes in, then that becomes what like perform nitya naimittika karmas and kami karmas, so that we get good karma and our life becomes very peaceful, and we can perform bhakti. Actually, I just want to mention this thing that Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Bhakti Tattva Vivek book, he mentions that if somebody brings in a philosophy like atheism or Mayavad, devotees will be immediately like, no, what you are saying is wrong. Okay, because they have their Sambandha Gyan from this point of view very clear. But as one gets closer to bhakti, if the philosophy gets closer and closer to pure devotional service, which is most of the mode of goodness faith, it becomes very difficult to distinguish between what is pure devotional faith and what is not. This is where the problem comes in, especially currently in the age of social media, where there are many things which are propagated in many forums. It's difficult to understand what is pure devotional practice and what is not. Like performing Sandhya Vandan or Pitrapaksha, Moksha, Mokshadaya Ekadashi for the goal of getting good karma, moksha and all that, or performing charity so that one gets good karma, so that in the next life if they are born they will have good platform to perform bhakti. All these are mode of goodness faith. Mode of goodness faith. It is not categorized as pure devotional faith. So yeah, that's the point I want to mention. So we should not confuse between the swabhava and faith, because it could lead to wrong understanding of the sambandha, which could deviate our prayojan, because our avideya becomes wrong and our prayojan itself, the destination itself, could change. Okay, I think we are running out of time, so I'll try to go fast for the rest of the presentation. So what we are discussing here is that why should we not perform any mode of goodness faith activities? Because one can argue that isn't Krishna given us these shastras that okay, do this particular activity and then you will get good results. Now why should I not follow? Yes, Good question. Let's see why. स्वे स्वे अधिकारे या निष्ठा स गुणः परिकीर्तितः विपर्ययस्तु दोषः स्यात् उभयोर्येष निश्चयः. Steadiness in one's own position is declared to be actual piety. So what I'm trying to say is स्वे स्वे अधिकारे या निष्ठा. Whatever one has adhikar for, if they perform that, that is whatever one is qualified for, if they perform it, their practice becomes perfect. An analogy could be that Manasamhita, one could say that, okay, every human being should take care of their parents. Okay, it makes sense, right? It's a mode of goodness thing. But who is it for? What is their qualification? Can I tell to my 2-year-old son that your duty is to take care of your parents, so now serve me food, get me this thing? No, because he doesn't have adhikar. He's not qualified for that. So what I'm trying to get at is, if one is qualified for a particular thing, they should practice, their practice should be according to that qualification, so that their goal is achieved. So a pure devotional sadhaka, they have particular qualifications. Okay, if they stick to those shastras, those particular activities, then their goal is achieved, or else it becomes it could deviate. So this is what in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Rupa Goswami is saying, Anunushtano dosho bhakti anganam prajayate na karmanam akaranat esha bhakti adhikarinam nishtacharato daivat prayishchitam tu nachitam iti Vaishnava Shastranam rahasyam tad vidam matam. So here the person qualified for bhakti, esha bhakti adhikarinam, is at fault. For what he is at fault? For failing to perform all the important angas of bhakti, that is like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, or Ekadashi, Vrat, and all that, celebrating the festivals, or Lord's appearance and devotees' appearance, disappearances. If somebody fails to perform these things, that's a fault. But he is not at fault for failing the performance, failing to perform the duties of Varnashram, or it includes everything like. So if he by chance Daivat happens to commit some sin, there is no atonement prescribed for him. Prayishchitam tu na achitam. That is uchit nahiya. Like, it is not appropriate for a bhakti adhikari to do any prayishchitam. So prayishchitam could be approaching from the viewpoint of. We'll discuss that in the later thing. So this is the opinion of the Vaishnava scriptures. Okay, so how is using karma or piety to improve the life is any different from taking help from a doctor? One could always have this question, that why should I not fix it from the viewpoint of karma? Are you not a hypocrite? Because you go to doctor, right? When you get sick, you go to doctor. And when I am suffering in the life, why not I approach the Vaishnavas, demigods, or even Lord Vishnu, using particular yagyas and this and that? Why is it wrong? Let's see why is it wrong. Okay, so here in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, Krishna says, Adhishtanam tata karta karanam cha pritagvidam vividascha pritak cheshta devam chaivatra paschamam. That is, there are 5 factors for success in an action. First one is Adhishtanam. Adhishtanam, that is body. Then karta, the performer. Karanam, various senses. Then what? Cheshta, that's the 4th item. Cheshta is endeavor, and Daivam, or ultimately the super soul. Here the Daivam indicates the karma. Okay, so when somebody gets sick and they approach a doctor, what they are actually doing is doing cheshta, right? They are putting effort, taking medicines, taking the treatment seriously, so that their disease improves. But if somebody approaches from the viewpoint of, let's say, approaching the demigods through different prayachita, because they believe that it is because of their karma that is happening, so I want to fix it from that point of view, that becomes, you are approaching from this point of view, not cheshta. So what I'm trying to say is that when we approach from the point of view of cheshta, it is still anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. But when we approach from the point of view of devam, from the point of view of karma, that becomes jnana karmadi anavritam, actually karma anavritam. So that's the problem. So why is it a problem? Because Krishna says sataya sadhaya yuktas tasya aradhanam ihate labate chattata kaman mayave vihita nihita. So everything comes through Krishna, but what happens is that when we get involved in these practices, our faith begins to change, because we see results from these activities and we begin to feel that, oh, okay, maybe this is the right way. I can fix my life in this way, and slowly improve my quality of life and approach Krishna. It is still all good, because with all good intentions that they want to improve their life and perform bhakti better, one could do that. One could advise somebody in that way, but it is outside the realm of pure devotional service. That's the problem with this. Now, having said that, I just want to say something outside what we are discussing. Is there no use of performing these kind of activities, which is, let's say, Pitrupaksha or this and that? Well, from the point of view of Lokasangraha, Lokasangraham evapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. Krishna says to Arjun that do it as to set examples for common people. Okay, like Yudhishthira Maharaj, he did different yagyas, and he performed Ashwamedha yagya, and for the people who died in the war, he performed so many things. All these as a king, because common man who does not have bhakti adhikar, they still need examples to follow, because when they see a great person do certain things or not do certain things, they will start following. That is the yadyata acharati shrestha. So that's the reason why one in the position of a leader could do it without faith. And without faith, if somebody does something, Krishna says in the last slok of chapter 17, doing something without faith is as good as not doing it at all. So with that viewpoint, just to set a right example, one could do it. But if somebody is doing that, this will help my bhakti, that becomes mixed devotional service. Okay. All right. So we are right about the end of the class. So this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila. What qualifies one as a pure devotee is that Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudrida Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. That is, Shraddha is confident, firm faith that by rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. Such faith is favorable to discharge of devotional service. So just by performing pure devotional service to Lord Vishnu, Yatatar or Mula Nisheshanena, by watering the root, every leaves and branches, everything gets watered. Just like that, by having firm faith in the words of our acharyas, that performing this is enough for everything, that defines a pure devotee. Okay, so but life is tough. Sometimes it could be too much, right, to tolerate. Is that the response? Krishna just says that just suffer, I don't care. If you have difficulty, just keep suffering, that's what I want. Is that what Krishna is saying? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. That's not what I'm trying to say. But Krishna expects that we take the right step, because if we take the wrong step, we are moving away from him. What does it mean? Is that when there is suffering, one could pray to Krishna that, Krishna, please give me the strength, or this is too much for me to handle at this point. I don't know what you want, but this is too much for me. So that is a valid prayer, and it still comes under the pure devotional umbrella. And one could always take guidance from senior Vaishnavas, because they know how to handle a particular situation. If we approach a Vaishnava, what we are doing is actually we are getting closer to Krishna. In difficult situation which Krishna is putting us in, we are taking the right steps, and that makes us go towards Krishna. The minute we take wrong step, which we think that, oh, this thing is coming from my karma, now I'm alone in this. I think Krishna is not controlling my life. Maybe he forgot about me. Maybe I should. If we start thinking about in this line of thought, we are actually moving away from Krishna. Actually, not lot of the details about how the karma and all that can be discussed in a public forum, because the ninth offense is a thing, instructing a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Actually, here Acharya say that the holy name is the representative of all the limbs of bhakti. Why? Because we are not just discussing about the glories of the holy name. One can think like that, but the problem is, if we understand why the ninth offense is an offense, is that if somebody says something about pure devotional service, or the glories of the holy name, one who does not have faith could think that it is false. They are just making it up. So in this way, they are committing mental offense. Now, the person who is instructing in this way could still think that I didn't do any mistake. I, with all good intention, I instructed that person. He took it wrongly. So why is it an offense for me? Because the person who is instructing did not consider the adhikar of the other person. He did not bother to investigate whether this person is qualified for that particular knowledge. If somebody mentions all you know all of this, that becomes an offense. That is what makes it an offense. So because of that, a lot of the details of the pure devotional service are not generally discussed in public forums. And that's why there is a lot of misunderstandings, like prarabdha karma is not gone till the end of life, until one leaves the body. Actually, if that's the case, every living being prarabdha karma is gone at the time of leaving the body. How is bhakti doing anything better, right? Rupa Goswami wouldn't have gone in so much detail about why bhakti removes prarabdha karma if somebody has to die to get the prarabdha karma completed. No, actually Krishna takes over. He takes over. We do not know that, oh, this is actually coming from a karma. Is it Krishna's act? Both are Shabda Praman. We do not know that. We are not actually checking that, oh, this is my prarabdha karma account and it got used a little bit here and this is why I'm getting this. No, that is still Shabda Praman, right? And like that, here our Acharya say that our Shraddha Praman for a Bhakti Adhikari says that we should still consider what is happening to us is coming from Krishna. So we should have faith in that. Okay, so here Brahmaji's prayers to Lord Krishna from Canto 10. It is Tatteno anukampam susamikshamano bunjanu eva atmakritam vipakam hritvag vapurvir vidadan namaste jivate o mukti pade sadayavak. So he says that this one particular verse, if somebody even follows a tiny bit of it, their life becomes perfect and perfect in devotional service. Because he says that one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your costless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offerings, and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and mind, is surely eligible for liberation, and for it has become his rightful claim. That is, whatever happens in our life, we see that it is Krishna's hands and nothing else, and it is happening because of my own offenses. And it is important to understand that even one's own offense, and the reactions are given by Krishna, not by karma. Krishna is doing this. He wants us to take the right step. And the more and more we take right step, the more and more we get closer to him. Okay, so that's why I just mentioned this. And one should never make this argument that, oh, you are less surrendered, so you are not qualified for pure devotional service, so do all these kind of prayachita. Now, did Prabhupada mention anywhere like that? Or any of our acharyas mention anywhere like that? Now, is the solution for less surrender to try to surrender more, or to do something which makes us even less surrendered? So that's why just follow these words of Brahmaji and the instructions of our Acharya, and we progress more and more. Okay, we are 5 minutes over time. So yeah, one should never doubt that is our life outside outside Krishna's control, because Kapila says that he says that what are you talking about? Mother Devahuti says in the line of should I not worry about what the demigods will do? He said, wind blows out of fear of me, the sun shines out of fear of me, the clouds and the Indra, he showers rain out of fear of me, fire burns out of fear of me, death goes about taking its toll out of fear of me. The reason why he says, Acharya has explained, that he says is that he will not think for a second if somebody affects his devotee out of if any of the demigods even think about affecting a devotee, he will not even think for a second before to remove them from their position. So we are protected by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are protected by Lord Krishna, so why should we worry? Our life is completely under the control of Krishna. Okay, I know this is too much, I understand. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, try to understand Siddhanta baliya chitte na kare alas. So don't feel overwhelmed. I know there is always confusion about mixing things like mixed devotional service and pure devotional service, mixing sins with effects of offenses. This is where all the hole in Samadha Gyan comes in, and that leads to wrong Abhideya and wrong Prayojan. I know that one could think that, okay, Prabhu, you are being too fanatic. It's just a terminology, right? You are calling this practice as pure devotional service, I am calling it mixed devotional service. How does it matter? Yes, it doesn't matter. It's a harmless mistake, I agree. But if somebody thinks that I am not a pure devotee, because of that I have to do all these prayachita, at that point it becomes a danger. At that point it becomes a danger. Because last week Maharaj was speaking, and he mentioned, like, in a shopping mall, you need, looking at the map, you need to know where you are. Just like that, we need to know our own adhikar. Based on that, we need to make our move. Only then our life can become perfect. So yeah, please, if all this sounds complicated, please approach your shreshtas or leaders and ask questions. That's the whole point of my presentation, because none of this will make sense immediately, and for every step we need to approach our leaders and take guidance. We have to ask questions. I know public forum, nobody is comfortable asking questions, so please approach your leaders and ask questions. And leaders, please, if somebody asks, find out where the questions are coming from, because this is an existential crisis in current day ISKCON. Okay, so we have to we should not lose any pure devotees. That's the main thing I'm trying to communicate here. Okay, so in conclusion, we saw the difference between conditioning on modes and conditioning on swabhava, and how, where does pure devotional sadhaka fall under. And we talked about some of the intricacies of Uttama Bhakti, and how perfecting that will lead to our success in our spiritual life. So if you are interested in more info on this topic, most of the my slides, they are from this course called Are You Sure Your Bhakti is Pure, by His Grace Balaram Shakti Prabhu. That is his website, Bhakti Grantha Seva. All the courses there are free, but you have to satisfy certain prerequisites. And this particular course, Are You Sure Your Bhakti is Pure, it's for all the practicing sadhakas. Okay, so thank you so much for giving this opportunity, and I'll stop my class now. Sorry, we went a little bit over time. Any questions, comments?
Thank you, Prabhu. It is very wonderful class. You described very well modes of bhakti, sattva, bhava, rasa, like that. It is very more.
Thank you, Mataji. I think you muted yourself, but
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice researched class, Prabhuji. I'm so happy you are going so analytically and critically to ask these questions to yourself and find out the answers. That's the best process to get clarifications and learn. And I'm so happy that this is happening, and then you are sharing it with all of us. So
Thank you, Prabhu.
inspired to do the same. So
Thank you, Prabhu. It's all your inspiration only. Thank you so much.
Very nice example that you are setting, and I'm so happy.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank
you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Again, I echo Paramakarna Das Prabhuji's words. I'm really inspired by the search for answers you did, and also sharing with us. And then most of what you said really went over my head. Just to be transparent, I was just trying to get one concept right, and the meanwhile we're getting another concept. There's so much to cover, right? So I'm just wondering, is there any other way? Of course, you pointed us to the towards the end. You pointed us to that sessions. So is there any other way perhaps you think we can have a little more detailed conversations on these aspects, and also with senior devotees like Paramakarna Das Prabhu coming in and chiming in it, right, to clarify? Because all these questions, right, that you're actually posing are very relevant questions. I myself had the question, how can I become a pure devotee, right? So that means next so many lives I will not have a chance, right? But I think you answered some of those questions very nicely. But again, the answers for me, I could not really comprehend it.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. I totally resonate with your feelings. These are difficult to understand, but at the same time, these are extremely important questions for our practice. That's why there is no replacement for life guidance. Taking help from senior devotees, that's the only way. Even material thing to get success in, let's say, clearing an exam, we still approach teachers, right? So our bhakti path is no different, and it's extremely important. So that's where senior devotees guidance come from. Yeah, and we have to approach them in private, not in a public forum, because, you know, like I said, the ninth offense, not everything can be disclosed in public. So thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Okay, devotees, thank you so much for giving this opportunity. I think we went quite a bit over time, so a lot of devotees dropped off. So we'll end the call here. So thank you so much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya vicha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.